Hello folks, it's the end of the year, bonsai growing season, if you will, or the growth season. I want to talk to you about fertilizer for a little while and some of the things I'm doing right now at the end of the year, because all things are not equal. Alright, one thing I decided to do earlier in the year is to make my own fish water, fish pee if you will. So I got a bunch of fish parts, fish heads, fish jaws, fins, backbones, and I put it in a barrel to let it decompose. Well, in the process of it decomposing, it made an awful smell, as you could imagine. And I thought to myself, what can I do to mitigate that odor? So I started looking around, doing some research, and of course I found the information on YouTube, where learning is a pleasure. And I came up with Lactobacillus, and that stuff is amazing. I mean, you can use it for a whole variety of stuff. I'm not going to teach you about Lactobacillus because you can find that information on the tube. So what I'm going to do is show you some of the applications that I have gone into with my fish water, as well as some other things. And you can see more on the tube with that. Also, you know, how to create it, how to apply it, how to use it in different ways. And I mean, there are even spin-offs, if you will, or residual things. Everything makes waste, okay, when you produce things. Well, part of the waste is making cheese with the byproduct of creating or culturing the Lactobacillus. And so you can get that. It's also a good probiotic. You can actually eat it. I mean, saying that you cultivate it properly and in a clean environment, you could actually use that as a probiotic for your gut. Now, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. You've always seen that I've got some guns, but if you look back at some of my videos, yeah, Santa Claus was coming to town. Well, he won't be in town this year, let me tell you, because I've used that stuff, you know, along with my meals or whatever, and it doesn't take a whole lot. So don't be like some people I've heard of. They loved it so much and they just started drinking that stuff. Well, you'll pay for it. But as you can see, I'm breathing normally and speaking normally. I'm not holding my breath trying to hold that in. So it works. It cleans your system out. It makes your system to perform better. And so it's good. Now, what I'm going to do now is uncover my barrel, and then I'll let you take a look inside of it, because you're immune to the odor. I'm not. But from the back of this property to the front, we're talking probably 100 feet, okay? Just a regular lot. And that's probably 90 feet going on the width. So, you know, we'll say close to a quarter acre. And when I first started culturing the fish parts, oh, believe me, it was something else, okay? And so once I got the Lactobacillus started, I applied it to the barrel, and it muted that odor. I mean, it knocked it down a lot. Yes, I can still smell it. It still rises up. As a matter of fact, we're in the mid-70s right now and got a breeze, and I'm getting a little waft of it off of the barrel right now. But it's nothing like it was before. And so the stuff is amazing. You can also use it inside of your home. You can use it for body odor. mouthwash, to help clear your mouth and to get, take care of the food debris that, that's left in your mouth, especially if you're using dentures or whatever. It helps to prevent the food from being digested in your mouth and causing bad breath. You can use it in your drains of your home to knock down the odors. With me spreading out this fish water, I get it splashed on me, so I'll take a little wipe and wipe it off. It knocks the odor right down, okay? And of course, then you wash off and boom, bam, Bob's your uncle. So I'm going to uncover this and then get to looking at things. I don't need a barrel. You might see the white on that. That is diatomaceous earth. The diatomaceous earth keeps the roaches and other bugs from coming and congregating around the cover, the lid, and of course with the odor, it attracts bugs and flies and such. Well, the diatomaceous earth irritates the little buglets, and so it keeps them away, and so that's a good thing for you. Also, I carve on rocks and I collect the dust from the rock carvings, and I use that here too. And both of those I use around the doorways and walkways or places that I don't want bugs to, approach. But I don't use that rock formula around the vegetables, okay? Especially the leafy vegetables, because it could embed into the leaves or into your soft tissue vegetables, and that could be problematic. But the diatomaceous earth, just like normal, you can use that around all your vegetables and whatnot to ward off bugs and such. So, as you can see, I've got this blue barrel 55-gallon drum, and then behind it I've got like a 25-gallon garbage can that I fermented the fish parts in, okay? And I created a dipper to stir this up and to meter it out into my serving buckets. Okay, so I stir it up periodically to aerate it, because I do add some of the Lactobacillus. Now, as you will find out as you explore this on YouTube, people use it in different ways and at different rates. I add a little bit of Lactobacillus to my mixture, as the days and the weeks go on, if I don't empty the barrel, okay, which I have not emptied this barrel since I filled it. I took probably like 5 gallons of the concentrated mix out of the smaller barrel, put it into this, and I've got 2 other barrels that are basically, they're not as concentrated as the fermentation barrel, but they are concentrated. So for all that I have, these 3 55-gallon buckets plus the other is more than enough to feed everything basically in the ground. Okay, this is the thing. the trees that I have in the ground, I can use that right now, because I'm not assaying it out to like the fish formula you buy in the bottle, 0, 10, 10, and so forth, okay? So, and I know that everything has nitrogen in it. So even when I buy the stuff that says 0, 10, 10, there's nitrogen in it. It may be assayed to a very low concentration of nitrogen, but I don't strain anything. I don't, add heat or anything like that, especially because I've got the Lactobacillus in there, which is a live organism. I don't want to eliminate that, because what it's doing for me is breaking down any solid particles, or assisting in breaking down solid particles into the constituent components of life, the amino acids and such, okay? So all of the minerals still being broken down. Now what I'm going to do is give you a kind of a look inside of the barrel. It may not be pretty, but it's useful. Okay, that barrel I put it, like I said, about 5 gallons or maybe a little more of the liquid from the other barrel in there, and then I added water. And it's stated that you should not use chlorinated water, or you agitate the chlorinated water. Okay, you can see there are a few parts like shrimp shells, fish scale, and the oils from the fish material. Okay, so with that, all right, I'm going to move over to the next spot to show you. Also, as I create my hill for mulch, I've got lots of trees around here. Oak trees, Zelkova, that's about 30 feet tall there. Sassafras trees, crepe myrtles, the Chinese bird plum, cherry laurels. So all of these leaves drop, and there's another mulch pile. Certain walkways, I just break the leaves up and leave those to walk on. But I add some of the Lactobacillus and the fish formula to the mulch compound, and coffee grounds, tangerine peels, and the like. And if I burn stuff, I add the potash, the ashes that remains, to the mulch also. And I can use that in my potting soil. I can use it in growing beds. Right here I have some Zelkova that I'm getting ready to plant in the ground to grow on. Little tiny ones in the tray, and gallon pots that I've got back there. 1 or 2 of these will be used to create a planting this year or early next year, so not all of them are going into the ground. So, and a few Zelkovas, some Vitex in the ground. All right, so we're going to go over here, and as you can see right there, that's actually there's a few elm trees mixed in there, but basically those are trident maples. And I take the fish formula and I just add it to the mix. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna set this up. Okay, coffee can. And what I do is put my mixture of mycorrhizone in this, and so I use this in conjunction with the fish formula, fish water, as well as the different brands. These are different brands of the 0-10-10 fish formula. So these are your, I guess you can say, your commercial forms of that. They're all filtered and processed. This is processed differently from this one, but basically they're the same. They do have some different components, and that's why I buy them separate. And I also add liquid iron. Doesn't matter what brand, chelated iron. And this is a container of the mixed Lactobacillus, and this has I think I actually used molasses in this to make this shelf stable, as it were. I mean, it's outside in the sun right now, and you can see it's in a milk container, but generally speaking, I keep this in a darkened area, and it's doing pretty good. It's still a live culture. And right here next to us is another one of the 55-gallon drums, okay, that I've used to disperse the very concentrated initial fermentation of the fish emulsion, okay, and of course I added the water to it. So if you're going to use this, of course you have to be careful of where you use it and when you use it. In other words, we're at the end of the growing season now. You really don't want to apply this fish formula or any other fertilizer late into the season. Okay, I have an extra long growing season here, but still, if I have tropicals or subtropical plants that I really need to go dormant, or even container plants, for the most part I'm not going to apply this to that at this time of the season. Plants in the ground here and surrounding shrubbery, I'll just keep going with that, okay, because they're already acclimated to this area and they can handle any miscues, if you will. But my thing is, I am growing plants to a larger state, to a more vigorous state. So I'm not trying to hold back as if the plants are mature and I need them, you know, in a certain state right now. What I need is for the plants to grow, okay? So my area, typically we don't get super hard freezes. We get frost and we do freeze some, but a day, maybe 2 days. So the plants will survive. I have pomegranate out, sarissas out, and they've been through our 20-degree weather. But again, I consider the fact that I have canopy, okay, over, so the tree cover will help protect against the direct freezing of some of these plants. So again, I'm telling you that I continue to fertilize these until I see a threat of severe cold weather. But generally speaking, you don't want to do that. Basically, you stop fertilizing around June, okay? And again, if you're in, as they say, the sun belt, and you have a longer growing season, well, you may be able to go a bit longer. Plus, if you don't want color in some of your trees, the Japanese maples, for example, the trident maples, if you don't want color and you're opting out to grow the plants deeper into the season, then yeah, you fertilize a little bit longer. A little starter plant and what we call a finished plant have different growing habits. So they have different watering schedules and requirements. They have different fertilizing schedules and requirements. So you have to differentiate between the age and the vigor of the plant plus what you really want to do with that plant. Even if you have a mature or finished tree and you're looking to restyle it or to do something else with it, you need to build it up so that it can withstand the shock you're going to put it through when you restyle it, if you're going to be doing major cuttings and such. So you balance all of these things out, and don't ever, except for when I say don't ever, don't ever take any information that I give you and call it gospel. Take it and work with it back and forth, up and down, okay? Make it fit what your needs are and what your plant's needs are, okay? I forgot to bring out the Lactobacillus to show you, but it's more of a yellowish or clear liquid. Now, the stuff that I have that is clear, I keep in the fridge, and I eat that, okay? I consume it for myself. I have different containers. One is to use out here, but it has to be kept in the fridge. And then another container I use to consume, okay? So if you're going to use that for consumption, keep it in a clean environment, as well as if you're going to use it for consumption, start out with a good clean environment and keep it going that way. All right? So what we're going to do now is talk about, let's see if I can, well, I can't get it on there with my setup. Now, I showed you that I had the mycorrhizome that I use in conjunction with that. This is a combination of reclaimed bonsai soil, some I guess you can call it my compost mix, which is leaf mold and humus material that, you know, I've worked with, and some fresh commercial composted topsoil. So I have basically items from 3 different areas, and I'll add in the mycorrhizome, okay, from my can here to that soil, and what I'll do is repot these Japanese maples. These are cuttings that I started earlier in the year, okay? Some have nice features. Yep, not air layers, they're just cuttings, you know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, back down to 3/8 inch, that sort of thing. And with the mycorrhizome, it will help the root system, and in turn it will help the plant to absorb the nutrients it needs, even to sustain it through the winter and to show some strength and vigor come the spring, and it'll just pop right out. But again, I'm going to be using that all in conjunction with my fish water, okay? So like say the fish water I have here, again, I can take this and just pour it straight on the plants that are in the ground, okay? But these plants that are in the pot, I will dilute that even more so that I'm not overdoing it, you know, with that. And I've experimented already, because that's what I do. And I pour this stuff straight out onto trees, and even some pots right over here. These are my little starts for my trident maples. Some of these are cuttings, some are air layers, depending, like, yeah, that right there with the bags on are air layers. The major plant itself is an air layer, and then I air layered the air layer, okay? So I have a variety of that, and I poured it out here, and they're looking okay, all right? There's no issues with the plants being burned, okay? So I've checked that out. I threw it over here on some blueberry plants and even small leaf trident maples, and they're doing well. No leaf burns or anything like that. So, but again, I recommend that once you make your fish formula and then you put it into your thinning out barrel, you know, or container, then thin it out again, especially if you're going to use it as a foliar feed. Okay, so you want to put, let's say, 1 to 20 if you're going to use it as a foliar feed. And some of the folks, if you're going to look at the use of fish formula or Lactobacillus, will give you their ratios also. But for the most part, I'm growing stuff in the ground, and that's what this is for. These containers of the 0-10-10 have gotten more and more expensive. I used to pay about $15, $13 to $15 for a gallon. The last time I looked, there was one up to nearly $60. Okay, this blue container here, well, actually, I've got another container around because it was getting more difficult to get them. The last container I bought, and these are partially empty, the last container I bought, I had to back off because $56 was the price around that time. And so I found some other people that finally advertised, and then 3 orders. It took me 3 orders to get one container. You know, everybody was saying they were out or they couldn't ship to my area. And I told my friend, I said, watch, just as soon as I pay a good price, I'll get my container of deal. And I paid $32 for the container, okay? And sure enough, it came right in. But again, in-state or out-of-state, people advertise, you know, they advertise $19, $20, you know, $25. And just as soon as you bought it, oh, regulations say we can't ship to you, or some nonsense. So the commercial stuff is good, and I use this on things that are more precious to me, because even though I'm a mad scientist, I'm not crazy. And so this stuff is more stable, and the assay on this is closer to being accurate than my fish formula. I have no idea of how strong this stuff is. Plus, this is foul material. So if I'm going to be shipping somebody a plant, I don't want them getting this with this odor. Now, I've gotten plants, or I've seen fresh plants in nurseries, and I'm talking wholesale nurseries and such, and you can smell the odor from whether it's the fertilizer or the fish formula or the fungicide. So if you know these things, you can smell it, and they don't smell good. But in the nurseries, you can expect that, because there's a time lag between them going out to the retailers and then getting to the customer. Well, I'm all of that. I grow it, I sell it to this person, that person, or whatever, and so I can't have that stuff on a plant that's going to somebody, okay? So again, the Lactobacillus, this has either brown sugar, or now mine has molasses in it, but you can use brown sugar or molasses as a sweetener to stabilize and to feed the culture, the bacillus culture, and then I augment with liquid iron here and there, and other micronutrients also as I need it, okay? And I'm primarily talking about stuff in the ground or pots that I need to boost up. So I'm using more than just what a lot of people want to use. They want to go all, you know, completely organic. Look, if I wanted to be totally natural or whatever, I'd never go to the doctor to ask them anything, okay? So I use what's available to me sparingly, and to me what's wise for me. So, you know, and I've got nothing against anybody doing stuff organically, completely organically, but that's a whole lot of work, and I'm just too old to do all of that. And I'm going to try to show you some plants that have been topped off with this stuff. Okay, I hit this water jasmine, and it's in bloom right now. You can see how green the leaves are. These are new leaves here. And these are older leaves, but they're nice and green. Okay. I know I hit this right here. Okay. Nice green leaves right there on the privets. Okay. The elm. So I came just all through here and just let it rip. And this is a big grove of trident maples. You can see the leaves on these. They're doing what they do. And I think I've hit this twice since I created my formula. And here we are in November, middle of November 2020, and all these green leaves. Got a little color on it, but some plants are just different, and they're gonna do what they do. So from the bottom to the top, so all around this I went on all sides and hit that with the fish water. Okay. And they're doing quite well. Here's a Japanese red maple, Atropoporium. Okay. And it just burst out. So the fish formula really works, and I say give it a try. Now, do you need 55-gallon drums of the stuff? No, not if you got 4, 5, 6, 10 trees. 1 or 2 fish in a large container. That's a air layer that I took off probably 3 weeks ago now, and it's starting to come back on me. So this is good. And see these cuttings right here? I hit those with the fish water also. Junipers, Procumbiums, Nana. All of those tridents right there, I sprinkled. And these cuttings, they got some of it. I didn't really care about those, but these are angel trumpets. They just happen to be in the way. So anyway, yeah, just 1 or 2 fish in a bucket. If you do the Lactobacillus, or you might have a friend or a partner, you can go in together, because a little goes a long way. And these are sarissas, different colors, white, pink. Over there, the winged elms. And again, I hit all of these with that liquid. I water before I fertilize, and then depending on what I'm using, if I use Miracle-Gro or some liquid water soluble fertilizer, yeah, I water first, and then I leave it. I don't water again. But if I broadcast like dry granular fertilizer just to boost some things up in the pot, instead of going, you know, to fertilize everything, then I'll water afterward also to knock the granulars off the leaves. Plants do eat and live during the winter, okay? They may be slow, but they still grow, and they need water, they need sunlight, they need air, they need all the things in less quantities than they do in the growing season, but they still need them. Okay, there you have the another 55-gallon drum, and again I stir that up periodically. And so all of these were hit. Look at the green leaves on this boxwood. That's about 5 feet, 6 feet tall. When I poured that in there. So yeah, the fish stuff works. And hey, here, I know, here's some more trident maples right here. And the leaves are discolored because of the normal end of year cycle. And again, I'm doing experimentation. Some of these leaves, and I've noticed other leaves up front, I'm not going to really go all the way up front, they were going off for the year. And when I added that fish water, even though the leaves were starting to deteriorate for the year, the green on it took on a really strong green hue, because now it's processing more of the nitrogen and so forth to cause the plant to grow. Well, that's what I was shooting for. The plant did not suffer any harm, and the leaves continue to stay on the plant. So again, that's what I was looking for. And so my fish formula works. I like it, and I'll just be using it primarily, like I said, in the ground, because I've got the commercial 0-10-10 fish formula, as well as the Miracle Grow liquids that I can use on specific plants, just to primarily finish them off before I end up selling them or starting to work with them, because I don't want to be working in those stinky fish formula either. But again, it's doing what let me see, I paid here recently for a bag of the Osmocote 40-pound bag. It was about $90 for a 40-pound bag. When I first started buying that, it was $75, somewhere in there. So the price has gone up. A bag of I think it was triple 10. That was about $13 a bag. So with the increase in fertilizer, I started thinking I need to do something different, because I have to fertilize all of these plants, and there's about 100 tridents here in the ground. That other stand right over there is probably another 50. That was my original plot anyway. And then, you know, I've got all the pots that you just saw. So with all of that, that's a lot to fertilize, okay? And you're not even seeing half, I would say, of the in-ground trees that I've got around this property to be fertilized. So with that, I needed to come up with another fertilization method, and the fish is it. So you go to the fish house, say, hey, can I have some fish parts? Now, don't go asking the people for 2 or 3 pieces of dead fish. Just take what they have and then share it with your friends. Or, well, actually, if they got it clean, the fish cheeks and the fish head, you can make fish head stew out of it. And a lot of people go there just to get that for the fish stew. So if they've handled it well, plus you're going to wash it off anyway, hey, make fish soup. And just take what you need to ferment and then do something with the rest. And I would say find a partner or two or 100 before you ask for the fish parts. No sense in going and buying fish. I've seen people on the tube say that they went and bought fish or they went and caught fish just to grind them up for fertilizer. Live your life, okay? That's my first thing. Live your life. But that's stupid. Paying for fish just so you can grind it up for fertilizer. You might as well go buy commercial fertilizer. There are fish houses that will give you that stuff, or you go down to the docks and they'll give you unwanted catch or stuff that was damaged. Sorry about the sun. So that's a bunch of our well, I've got maples, Japanese maples in here, and wisteria, Chinese wisteria. And I've hit this also with the fish. This is my small leaf trident maple. These things will get down half the size of my little finger nail. Okay, so it's a pretty good size. These were air layers I took off a few seasons ago. You can see the leaves on this blueberry. So let me back out and then I'll terminate this Yopon, large blueberry bush, and I hit that also, and so you got color because that had already started, but you can see the green in the leaves. The Green Island ficus. I had that in my greenhouse last year and it was coming along nicely. My heater went out and so it suffered some dieback because I lost the heat. Well, so I had to rework it to come up with something nice. That is an elm on a rock that I'm working with in a cascade form. I've got it in that white bucket with water in it. Well, actually I've got a nutrient bath in it. I added some liquid iron, just less than a cap full, some root stimulator B